Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to a brand new video. I'm going to talk about The Batman. This is what I watched this week. A little show I do where I talk about movies that I watched this week. And this week we have The Batman, which is awesome. And Matt Reeves directed and writ this film along with some other fucker. Matt Reeves, I'm excited that he's doing these kind of projects because I was just looking at his IMDb and I didn't realize he directed Cloverfield, but Cloverfield's good. And then he directed Dawn and War of the Planet of the Apes. And I really liked Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I never actually saw War for the Planet of the Apes just because, I don't know, like, I people said it was good, and then I just kind of like, okay. But I think Matt Reeves did a great job with those films, and those films made money for WB, and I commend WB for giving them the whole production like full free reign to do basically whatever they want. I mean, first of all, to cast Robert Pattinson, and then to have like Paul Dano and Colin Trevorrow, Colin Farrell, that's his name, Colin Farrell, and like John Turturro, like cast in these movies. Like, these are not people I would think of to be like in a Batman film, especially like Robert Pattinson. But I mean, guys, it's good. It works. I think it's not good. It's great. All right, so short review before I get into spoilers. This movie's long, but the pacing and the execution of this film is great. It's not, you don't feel the length, like, for real. That's the best part about this film, is that it's so long, but everything has time. Everything goes at a steady pace where you're like always interested and things move along. But it still has like a slow burn detective-y kind of feel to it, where things happen, but they can play out, and you can see the process of how the story goes. And I'm like, man, this is great. I really love how it takes its time, but at the same time, the pacing doesn't feel like it's dragging along, which is the best thing I can say about this movie. I'm gonna give it like a 9 out of 10, straight up. Robert Pattinson is one of my favorite. I have to think about it more. This is maybe my favorite portrayal of Batman. And okay, I'll leave it at that, because I was about to say something that could be kind of a spoilery, and I don't want anyone to be spoiled for this. So if you're on the fence about it, go watch it for real. If you set a time, set a day, long in the future, plan for it, because I know it's a big chunk of your day to go to the theater and sit for 3 hours, but it's worth it. Trust me. All right. So here we go into the spoiler review. Okay, so what I was going to say before, and I left out my bad things for the short review, but I'll touch on them right after this. What I was going to say is that Batman is great in this. Like, the portrayal of him is great. And he is basically Batman 90% of the movie. If you really look at it, Robert Pattinson only has to be Bruce Wayne for like 10% of the movie. You hardly ever see him without the suit on, which is awesome. It's a great contrast from like The Dark Knight Rises, where Batman doesn't show up until like an hour and 20 minutes into the movie. It's just mostly Christian Bale, Bruce Wayne, which is good. Christian Bale is a good Bruce Wayne. He may be the best portrayal of Bruce Wayne that I've seen. I really like Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne. Robert Pattinson looks kind of like an emo boy. Like, I hate his haircut in this movie. His haircut is the worst part of this entire movie, just to be honest with you. But other than that, his portrayal is good. And I really like that he doesn't say a whole lot. He's very stoic. And Robert Pattinson does fucking great at brooding. Like, he looks good. Like, that jaw, bruh. He looks amazing in the costume, too, by the way. And because he's such a great actor, the small expressions from his face and from his eyes are just amazing. That scene with Paul Dano, whenever they find out, when he's caught and he's in the prison, and Paul Dano's given his little monologue. And by the way, Paul Dano should be in more big budget movies. Like, that dude is a fucking amazing actor. There Will Be Blood. He is phenomenal in that. He's in Prisoners, that Denis Villeneuve film. Fucking killed it in there. He's just a fucking fantastic actor and a great choice to play this kind of character. But in that scene specifically, their dynamic of like their back and forth and the close-ups of Robert Pattinson's face, I was just like, man, this dude is killing it with his like his eye expression and his little movements of his face, because that's what you have to do. If you have to emote, you have to be able to emote with your face and your eyes if you're Batman, of course, because you don't have the full face to show off. And Robert Pattinson just kills that. And while we're talking about the Riddler, I have a little bit of a statement here. I won't think it's a hot take, but it's definitely like a statement. Remember when people were freaking out about the Joker movie and about the incel uprising that was going to take place and the shootings that were going to happen in the theaters and everything like that? The portrayal of the Riddler in this movie is way more problematic to me than the Joker portrayal. This dude, the Riddler, is an incel lunatic madman. And I don't say problematic like in a bad way. I just feel like because violence in movies, I don't correlate those like in video games. Violence in video games, if you're predisposed to violence, it's childhood trauma, things of that nature. I don't think there's the correlation between video games or movies, but this portrayal of this character, he's pretty badass, but he's also very like insane and very delusional. But what he does is not the worst thing, because he's exposing corruption and he's killing these fucking corrupt politicians and bad cops, and he's exposing that. But then it goes a little bit too far with the whole flooding the city and fucking shooting the mayor and all this shit. That pushes it way too far. I was on board with like, okay, this is interesting. This guy is exposing corrupt politicians and all that. I'm like, all right, I'm kind of okay with you. Like, you're still killing people and you shouldn't do that. Batman needs to stop this man, but you're not the worst. I can see where you're coming from, and that's what you want in a villain. You want like a relatability or something that's gonna make you feel like you know what their goal is, and you really do. You see his side of it, and there's a great mystery involved in this, and you see Batman take steps to you see him take all the steps to figure out the mystery, which is so great, and that goes into like the slow burn aspect of it, where you see all of the procedures that you would take. You go, you stake out places. You look and you watch people. You go talk to witnesses. You follow leads. And I just really like it. The story is really great and engaging. Ugh, sorry, excuse me. But some of the things I didn't like. The music was good. I don't think it's great. I thought it was fitting. Sometimes it was good, or sometimes it was great. Most of the time it was just okay or good. You can't compare this to like Hans Zimmer's epic scores for the Dark Knight series. That shit is amazing. And so when you go from that to this, you can't. I don't know who composed this. I'm sorry, you are no Hans Zimmer, sir. And he probably would admit that too. Hans Zimmer is a mad lad masterpiece maker. And also the old movies have the iconic Batman theme song, the Danny Elfman theme song, and all that stuff. That is iconic in its own right. So when it comes to music, this is a little lacking, but still really good. Where it shines is the cinematography, the lighting, the shots. I mean, there's so many fucking shots in this movie that could be sick-ass posters. Like, it's insane how good the shots are in this movie, the cinematography and things like that. I was looking at some of them and I'm like, my God, this would be fucking awesome as a poster. And segueing into a gripe is the fact that there's a lot of death. Like in DC fashion, there's a lot of innocent life lost. And I couldn't help but that took me out just a little bit of like that scene where the Batmobile is chasing Penguin, and then Penguin rear ends or he backs up, or whatever he does. He knocks a tanker truck out of the way, and everything's sliding around and skidding around. And then they just like tumble over, and everything blows up and explodes. And Batman's like, which is fucking awesome. Don't get me wrong, the fire and everything's fucking awesome. But all I could think of was like, oh my God, all those people just blew up. All those truck drivers just exploded. And we don't see anybody like in the tanker truck, like, like jump out or something before it explodes. Get a couple more extras would have been good to like, which there was extras and stuff like in some of the flooding area and all that. But that seems specifically needed some kind of more of a, it was just kind of a disconnect of like Batman just fucking like disregarding these people's lives. And they explode, and then him just trying to chase the Penguin, like when cops, and he's not a cop, he's a vigilante, but he works with cops in this movie. When cops, since the chase is too dangerous, they don't want any innocent lives to be lost. They will, all right, we'll stop here, we won't chase, and we'll get you later. Sorry, but we're not going to risk everyone's lives. Batman says, fuck no, I need this, you. And he does all this, and ultimately, he still fails in the end, which was another bummer to me. I was like, man, I love his Batman, but he really fucked everything up. He really didn't save the day, Which, all right, that's that's a take, like that's something new. Don't save the day. I mean, you caught the guy, but he kind of let you catch him. So Batman just kind of fucked everything up in this movie. There was a cool scene where the courthouse scene, no, the funeral, because I don't think it was at a courthouse, but it looked kind of like a courthouse. Maybe it was the city hall or something. But that scene where the guy drives in and then he has a bomb strapped to him and everyone's like trying to be meticulous about it. And Batman just like walks out of the shadows. There's a lot of fucking like lighting. It's so great in this because he just comes out of the shadows and it looks so badass. It looks so cool because you really can't see in there, and he just steps out, and I was like, bro, and he looks so cool in that suit. Is awesome. I was like, this is badass, and that's a tense scene. There's so many tense moments in this. It's really great. Like when the mayor goes out to the podium again, I'm like, oh fuck, please don't show her fucking head getting exploded or anything. I was like very tense, some tense moments, and some scary stuff too, like some real scary atmospheric drama. They go to this abandoned orphanage, and there's some drop heads in there. That's what they call it. They don't say like dope heads or drug heads, I guess, because they're dropping tablets or there's some kind of drug. And there's like all these people in this orphanage hiding out in there, and there's like a scene where this guy runs by, and you're like, what the fuck? Is that a ghoul? What is that? And it's just a homeless man. And yeah, homeless drug addict. It's scary. And at the very start of the movie, when the guy hits him, the Riddler hits him with the thing, and it's like makes this like noise. Scary. But overall, fucking banger of a movie. Let me tell you what. Banger of a film. All right, let me think real quick. Let's make sure I'm not forgetting anything that I want to talk about. But I gotta talk about Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman, really great. And I meant to say this earlier, but it's great that Batman is so stoic and he hardly talks. I love that. It's really great, and it just fits so well. But it wouldn't fit so well if all the surrounding characters weren't as great as they are. Like Catwoman, she's great. I was gonna say Commissioner Gordon, but he's like Lieutenant in this movie. Lieutenant Gordon, great. The other like villains, great, and they just work so well off each other. Alfred, great. It's cool to see, Andy Serkis like doing a big role like this. And Andy Serkis and Matt Reeves have a great relationship because he did obviously. Andy Serkis did a lot of mocap for the War of the Apes and stuff movies. I think he played Caesar. So yeah, there's that. And it's good to see him in here. He makes a good Alfred. He looks... It seems like they try to make him look older, because I don't know how old Andy Serkis is, but he's getting up there, but he's not like old age, Michael Caine will always be Alfred to me. There's the old Alfred from like the Batman, the 89 Batman and stuff, but I don't like... Michael Caine will always be Alfred to me. And I love Michael Caine. He's a great British man. So the surrounding characters, I want to say like the supporting characters, that's what it is. The supporting characters, really great. I love the guy who plays Lieutenant Gordon. I can't remember. Let me look up real quick what I've seen him from. Sorry, I already have this pulled up, so if you need Jeffrey Wright. Fucking great. And I love that they made him, that's where I know him from. I love that they like changed him to be like a black man. It gives it a fresh look, you know, something fresh. I know him from The Hunger Games, Mockingjay, and all those movies. He plays the that little scientist man who is good with like wire. He's like the smart electronics man. What else is he in? But he's good. I feel like I've seen him with something else too. But because that name sounds very familiar. Don't really see anything else. But he makes a good detective. And the funny thing about like the real funny and silly thing about this movie is that it's not really a throwback to like neo-noir type movies. It's kind of just a straightforward action blockbuster movie. But the way the cops talk in this and the cops speak and stuff is so kind of funny and on the nose. And I don't want to say it's fitting, but it's like it's noticeable in a way, and I like it. I don't know what, it's so hard to explain because there's like so cliche lines like "you're gonna pay, punk," or like some like New York British slang. And there's this police chief that talks in this funny ass way, like when they're in the cell with Batman after he gets exploded, you know, and he's unconscious, and then he wakes up, and there's that police commissioner. I don't know who he is. He's a rank above Commissioner Gordon, and he's talking like, I can't even remember any of the words that they say, but just listen to how they speak, and it feels like they're talking in like a 50s, 60s movie, or like a cheesy procedural cop drama on TV. They talk just like that, in these cliche things. It's so funny, but it's also good, and I love it. I can't explain it, but maybe when it comes out, I mean, just listen for it. And it's so hard to explain. I wish I could remember more lines. There was one that really stuck out to me, but I can't remember it. It was when he's talking to the Penguin after they catch him, and they're talking to him about La Ratada and all that. Yeah, I could talk. I wish I had I wish, leave comments. You know, I'll talk with you about this in the comments if you see this. And I don't know what else I have to say. I think I've talked about everything else. I just collect my thoughts for a second. And Robert Pattinson, fucking great. Kudos, WB. I hope this movie makes all the monies because I really like the direction that they're going with this. Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Not the end credit scene, but like, is that supposed to be the Joker with him? Me and my fiance were talking about it, and it's like, I was like, maybe it's Two-Face, but then his face looks all the same, and I'm like, okay, but it's a weird, interesting Joker, if it is the Joker. And there's a lot of speculation about who the next villain's going to be, but they gotta get the city cleaned up and deflooded, and man, that's just. And now he goes from like I'm vengeance now to, oh, I'm hope. But that's Superman's thing, ya bitch. You can't take Superman's hope from him. I was hoping this was going to be in the world of the Joker. I was trying to think of the director's name. Todd Phillips directed movie Joker. I was hoping that Joker would be the Joker in this universe, because his mom also had mental problems, and it seems like there's something weird with Martha Wayne, that she was like had mental problems or something. I don't know if that's like a big part of a comic that I've never read or heard of, but that's a thing. See where that goes. And yeah, I need to look up who that actor was that played the Joker, or the unnamed man, because I've heard his voice. It sounds so familiar, but I couldn't place it. All right, I'm just gonna look it up real quick, because why not? No, fuck. I accidentally clicked on a different message. So this is basically over. If you guys want to leave, thanks for checking this out. I just want to make sure. I want to make sure. I want to know who that guy was, and then talk about my thoughts about it if I want to. Oh, okay. I've recognized his face. Yeah, he plays Druig from Eternals. I really liked that guy too in the Eternals. He had that one scene and that one speech that I really liked in the little tomb about the humans and saving them and all that or whatever. But yeah, I like that guy. He's been in some other good movies, but I've never seen. I just said other good movies, like I'm talking about Eternals as a good movie. I need to get off of this. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me, and subscribe, like, comment, please. Let me know what you thought about this movie. I would love to hear and interact with you and talk about this because, man, it's just awesome. So, until next time, I'll see you.